There are two ways that we learn. Okay, there's first-hand experience and second-hand experience. First-hand experience is you try it and you learn for yourself, right? You touch the stove, you burn yourself, lesson learned, click, right? Now, do you have enough time in your life to try everything yourself? No. So you're also going to look at second-hand experience. And this is where a lot of our beliefs, our assumptions come from. A lot of our bearings on the world come from second-hand experience. We filter this information through how congruent someone is in what they're saying, how certain they are in what they're saying, and how much authority they have. How congruent, how certain, how much authority they have. When you're born as a kid, you're trying to form real fast as much as you can about the world. As many bearings and beliefs and assumptions about the world as possible. You're like, what is this shit? Right? Now, who are you going to look to? From whom are you going to get most secondhand beliefs? Parents, teachers, friends, yeah, friends, family, classmates,
geography, where you are.
Including just general beliefs that we hold in our society. That's where you're going to get a lot of it. So you're born, you're like, okay, if this is like your mom, you come into this world, little baby, right? You come in and you're like, what the fuck is all of this? What was I just shoved into? Okay? And immediately you're looking around like there's forms, there's people, what is this shit? Then you're going to look at your parents like, okay, who are these people? They're my parents, and your parents are telling you all these different things. And you're like, okay, take it in. A lot of authority. They seem very certain, very congruent. Boom, it's true. And this is something you must bring your awareness to. What are some of the core assumptions or core beliefs you've taken on? And this is unique to you, how you were raised, by whom you were raised, your perception at the time, the environments you were in, how you interpreted those environments, and the culture you were in. But we all take different core beliefs. If, as a little baby, you look at your parents and the relationship they have with each other, that is going to form your definition of a relationship or your definition of love, right? If your parents are, say, fighting all the time, you're a kid. You don't know. You're looking at that. And you're like, well, I must model them. A lot of authority. They seem damn fucking certain in that fighting. They're damn congruent, too. I guess that's love. Boom. And now you just formed the core belief. Love equals drama. Love equals fighting. What if your parents, they kind of lost that chemistry and they were very flat, kind of like friends? Okay, love equals flat. Love equals friendship. Not much sexual chemistry. What if they split? Love equals abandonment. Love equals leaving, being betrayed, being alone. And we store that as a core belief. Similarly, if your parents tell you money is bad, you don't want money. You know who has money? Corrupt fucks. Do you want to be a corrupt fuck? Yeah. Jeez. The way you said it too, you're like, yeah, as if you just came during, you're like, yeah. Wow. Okay. The answer is no. You're taught that and you're like, okay, money is for bad people. Or your parents might tell you money's not for you. It's not for us. Other people may have it, but hey, in our family, all the generations, we've always stayed at this level. But hey, we're people of integrity. We're not like those corrupt fucks. We're of integrity. And you're like, okay, so no money. Money is bad. Right? Okay. They might also tell you, don't dream too much. Don't get your hopes up, or you'll be disappointed. Just keep your head down. I don't get my hopes up, head down. And we form all these assumptions, these core beliefs. And then guess what? We do this very fast. We're entering the world. We're like, oh shit, formed. And then we act in the world from those assumptions and beliefs. And we build new beliefs, new assumptions based on that. And it's like this little tree that grows. And these are at the core. Now, here you are in your adult life. We never took the time to question these assumptions or beliefs. We just took them for granted and we invested in them. Do you right now want to bring your awareness and question the validity of these beliefs? No. Why? Because what if this is wrong? Everything else crumbles. And we have this. We have all these like trees of belief within us that form our bearing. And if this is wrong, what's at the foundation is wrong, everything fucking crumbles. And you're left with the big unknown. And it also means that you've been fucking up your entire life. Your ego is extremely invested in this. So you don't want to question it. You'd rather just keep your head down and keep acting through this, repeating the same patterns. And that's one way you can identify these beliefs, is look at the patterns in your life. If you think, again, relationships are drama, you're going to be attracted to people with whom there's going to be a lot of fighting and drama. You will actually not feel attraction for someone where it's very nice and, let's just say, healthy. You will not feel attraction for it. When it goes nice and healthy, you're like, disgust will kick in. For real. If your parents split and you're like, okay, love equals separation, you're going to fall for partners who will cheat on you, who will leave you, who will not be available. Long distance. Relationships equals flat. All your relationships will get very platonic. And you just keep repeating the same patterns. This is what creates so much self-sabotage. Money is bad. Why do I never make money? Why do I keep getting drawn into these shitty situations? Because of your core beliefs. Another way of kind of looking at this is write down your ceiling of success. When it comes to your health, your wealth, your relationships. What do you deserve to have? How much money do you deserve to make? What makes sense for you to have? Not what you want to have. Everyone wants billions. How much do you see yourself realistically making? What makes sense for you? And we have this self-concepts like, well, I deserve this much. This is what's linked to me. How healthy do you deserve to be? You can also look in patterns. What do you keep being pulled back to? How much money has been in your bank account on average the past few years? How healthy have you been the past few years? You might have done little sprints at New Year's. Let's do it. What do you keep being pulled back to? What relationships do you deserve to have? If you saw yourself walking in the street, what partner do you deserve to have? Physically, mentally, emotionally? What is too good for you? If you saw yourself in the street, you're like, oh, how did he get her? How did she get him? What the fuck? That doesn't make sense. You can also ask yourself around, who do you feel stifled? At what point do you start freezing up and getting nervous? Why do you feel stifled? Because you're thinking that they're outside your league. Right? If you talk to someone, you're like, oh, I'm outside their league, or on the same level, you don't run out of things to say. There's no pressure. But as soon as you're like, ooh, these people are too good for me, you freeze. Right? And then what do? We never question why we freeze. We try to find techniques to fight against it. No, get rid of that ceiling. And then if you want to go even deeper, identify the identity you've taken on. And that's the big one. What identity have you taken on? Who are you? What person are you? What character are you? What do you deserve out of life? What makes sense for you? And we all have this, an unconscious identity that has been running us, that we view ourselves as, and that limits us in so many areas of life. For me, I've talked about this, for the longest time I was the self-destructive artist, and I kept being pulled back. I can't succeed fully because then I'm no longer self-destructive, right? What's your identity? You can also ask yourself, what's your movie character? Who are you? When you watch a movie, who do you resonate with? Not who you want to be, who do you resonate with? The loser? The hero? The good guy? The bad guy? The sidekick? The victim? Who are you when you watch a movie, you're like, that's totally me. Oh wow, I really relate to that person, that character. Who? For me, it was always the self-destructive person in the movie. I was always like, damn, that guy's so cool. Not even consciously, I was like, wow, I just resonated and related to that. Who do you relate to? Might be the sidekick. Sometimes we look at the hero, we're like, oh, fuck the hero. And then we're looking at the sidekick, yeah, it's totally me. And how could that perhaps play out in your life? Maybe you're always helping others, putting them first. Being a great sidekick, but never killing it. Too scared to be the main person. Always attaching yourself to other people. No? Another common one is the underdog. All right? The person who needs to face a big challenge and overcome this challenge. This was a client I had on Skype. He viewed himself as the underdog. How did that replay in his life? He always needed something to overcome. He couldn't let success come to him easily. Why? Because if it comes too easily, then there's no challenge to overcome. And he felt disgust And that's where disgust to success being easy. He would purposely create challenges to overcome. He would get a new job, and I remember he's working in like finances, Wall Street and stuff. And he got this job, and the firm's like, the boss like, look, I want you to bring in this money, and if you do it well, you know what, I want to move you up. It's kind of like my legacy, I believe in you, so on and so forth. And he just slacked off for months doing nothing. Why? Because he wanted the boss to start doubting him. Ooh, I don't know about this hire. Maybe I bet on the wrong guy, the wrong horse. And now there's someone to prove wrong. Now you're the underdog. Everyone doesn't believe in you. They don't believe in you anymore. And you can prove them wrong. And he kept being drawn to that, making things way harder. So again, if you link it to self-sabotage, a lot of us are just like, well, just work more. Okay, you can work more, you can hustle more, but it's not smart work until you address a lot of this. If you're hooked on always projecting success in the future, when I'm successful, you emotionally addict yourself to that state, and you're going to push success away. I had this when it came to relationships growing up. I'd always like, as a teenager, I was like, man, when I'll get a girlfriend, and I'd, lie at bed at home and like play emo songs and shit. I'm sure a lot of you did that, like little, pop punk songs about when I get the girl. And I'd literally fantasize this, like when I get a girlfriend, when I go talk to her, And guess what? Part of me didn't even want to talk to a girl in real life. I didn't even want a girlfriend. Why? Because then I could no longer think about when I get her. If you have her, you can't think about when you get her. I can't sit down and have my emo nights anymore. All right? So we self-sabotage. If right now it's like you're so hooked on, man, I'm going to be successful when, you're going to self-sabotage as well. So you need to address this. Okay? Similarly, if you view yourself as like the loner, why don't I have relationships? You're the loner. You must let go of this identity. It limits us in all these areas. Identify the core beliefs, identify the ceilings, identify the identity, and let go of it. And then, without self-sabotage, you will thrive in ways you cannot imagine. Okay? Just in terms of seeing opportunities. I mean, just that. Here's a great example. Someone who's at the bottom who believes that they're kind of down here, they don't deserve much. If you compliment them, they won't see your compliment. What will they see? A sarcastic attack, a mean remark. You walk down the street, someone's like, I like your shoes. You're going to be thinking, fuck that obnoxious motherfucker. How dare they make fun of my shoes? So you don't even see it as a compliment. As you move up, you might see it as a compliment, but you have to push it away. Nice shoes. Oh, these are nothing. And then, only then, when you let it land, nice shoes, thank you. Right? Now, just this example, the compliment, how could this affect your life in terms of different opportunities? What are opportunities that are right there for you that could change your life in ways you cannot imagine, that you don't even see as opportunities, just like that person who sees a compliment as a sarcastic insult? The limitations, the blinders we have are insane. And the way we approach it, again, is like we just hustle more, spending way too much effort instead of just, like, we spend so much effort fighting against self-sabotage, we could just kill it. And then, of course, we think binary, what I said before, where it's like, it's either the inner work or the outer work. It's both. Take care of your inner shit so you can kill it in the real world. Let go of self-sabotage so you don't have to spend all this energy fighting against self-sabotage. That was me before the scandal. I'd hustle like crazy, but everything I learned was designed to fight against self-sabotage. Ask yourself, why do I self-sabotage to begin with? Instead of being stifled around someone and then trying to find ways to not be stifled, why am I stifled to begin with? That's the question. Why am I ... to begin with? Everything, ask yourself that. Why am I that to begin with? What is keeping that alive? An emotional addiction, a core belief, part of my identity? What is keeping that alive? Why do I secretly like this? What's the payoff? It's another thing. Self-sabotage isn't you fucking yourself over, it's you getting what you want. But you're not aware of the part of you that is getting what it wants. Why do you like being poor? Why do you like being alone? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. Why do you like sucking at life? Why? We're like, what? I don't. What part of you does? What part of you likes staying stuck? What part of you likes feeling like a little victim, feeling sorry for yourself? What do you get out of that? What need is being fulfilled? Identify it. Say you take someone who has a self-concept, even of like money is bad, and like, okay, I want a lot of money consciously, but it's again, money's bad. You don't deserve a lot of money. That's going to require a lot of effort. It's like, well, I'm going to hustle, and you can try to rearrange the physical or use your mind, like mind over matter, fuck it, da-da-da-da-da. Surround myself with people who motivate me, but it doesn't affect the self-concept that money is bad. You don't deserve it. And you will always find a way back. You can prolong it, like, oh, not yet, but eventually you find a way back to those core beliefs, those core assumptions. You will always find a way back. So the question is like, it's a good first step to hustle, but it's like, okay, what's the self-concept? Let's attack the internal. The internal comes first. That's what's at the cause, never the external. But we're so easy to just focusing externally because it's easy, we see it. Dive within. Someone who isn't going to the gym, who isn't healthy. Someone who, say, eats a lot of junk food, is obese. Here's solution number one. Let's just change the physical. You know what? Here, go and get some plastic surgery, some liposuction, you'll be fit. And that'll work. They'll come out of it. They'll have lost a lot of weight. But will it change anything internally? No. If there's, for example, binge eating motivated by self-hate, or again, different factors at play here, that self-concept, like I'm unhealthy, I'm fat. They're going to find a way back to that, right? Temporarily, they're like, oh, I'm in the body of a skinny person. But that's not who they see themselves as or who they believe they are. They'll find themselves back. Then you could go, okay, mind over matter, go to the gym. They will always be pulled back. This is why New Year's resolutions never work. This is why we're just stuck in this same little realm. We think that our life is changing. We're just running around in circles. Like for real. We think we're going up, and then a little thing happens, we keep going up. But in reality, here's what you think you deserve. You go up, and then you might pierce through it a little bit, but because it's too good for you, you fuck it up. And then you go back up, pierce through it, fuck it up, pierce through it, and you have this illusion that you're moving up, but you're just staying under this line. Think about it. All your goals, New Year's resolutions, it's always the same shit. This year's the year I will get in shape. Does it happen? No. This is the year I will make money. This is the year I'll be more confident. This is the year I'll put myself out there more, take more risks. Stuckness. Until you get to the internal. Like let's just say you fix the self-sabotage when it comes to health. Now you feel inspired to be healthy. And then you add on top of that different systems, boom, different accountability, like so on and so forth, you just soar. However, it's like you need that internal to come first. So the systems help, but if you just add systems without this, people always fall back. They never, yeah, like it'll require massive willpower, and that's a key, massive effort and willpower. They'll get some results, and then again, the more results they get, the more the pull gets stronger and stronger. Like this isn't you don't deserve this, and it will be very subtle, like rationalizations. Like you start getting in shape, and so you're like, well, I've worked out really great this past couple weeks. Let me have a cheat meal. And then you start going down. That cheat meal turns into 2 to 3. Then you start slacking off again. It's like, oh, well, maybe next time. And then, boom, back to where you believe you deserve to be.
Put on the gas and brakes.
And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's like very hard to get what we want, and we never truly maintain it. Or if we do, again, with different systems, you can prolong it, but you'll see people always fall back to it. It's like that whole poverty mentality when it comes to money. We have it when it comes to health, to what we deserve, to the friends we deserve. It's just the same fucking patterns. It's crazy. You could grow up in a household that's like, you know what? Being creative is great. Be creative. You don't want to be this structured, soulless business person. Fuck that. And you have that core belief, is an example. Or it could be the opposite. You know what? Creative people, they're lazy. They're just head in the clouds. You want to be structured. Depends on the household. Like, okay. The same as your different way of being. If you look at your parents, like I remember, I caught myself, this is like a couple years ago or so, it's like, I was doing better, but I was still kind of tense all the time. Like, why was I tense all the time? And if I reflected back and say I looked at the way my dad was growing up, he was always tense all the time. As a kid, it's like, well, that's how I should be. Tense all the time. Again, these are just some examples, but really reflecting back on that, like, what was I conditioned to believe in the classroom? Another one is also reflecting back to past trauma, because that'll limit you as well. Here's another one that'll blow your fucking mind. When you hear fear of expressing yourself, or fear in the dating world of, like, say, going to say hi to someone. We call it like approach anxiety. There is no such thing as approach anxiety. You know that, right? It's just called being triggered. Right? There's no such thing. And the fact that in this whole like dating world, there's people still talking about approach anxiety without talking about healing past trauma is insane. It's absolutely insane. There is no such thing. What is being triggered? When something kicks in and your response is disproportionate to reality. Okay? Whenever your response is disproportionate to reality, you're being triggered. Going up and saying hi to a stranger, is it life-threatening? No. What's the worst that could happen? No, thank you. Nice to meet you. That's literally the worst that could happen. Why is it that we're freaking the fuck out over this? Literally as if we're about to die. As if we get that response, nice to meet you, we feel like we're going to get stabbed and the world's going to explode. Right? I've seen it for years with clients. Like, hey, go say hi. No, freaking the fuck out. Freaking the fuck out to the point where they have to pay me to push them to go say hi. You know how insane that is? That's how scary. I need to drop thousands of dollars to be pushed in because I'm too scared to do it on my own. That's not proportionate to reality. Right? The same as expressing yourself. Right now, just the idea, if I tell you, hey, go out in the street and talk about like your favorite movie extremely loud for 5 minutes. By yourself. Extremely loud as people walk by and stare at you and judge you. Just the idea would probably freak you the fuck out. What's the worst that could happen? Nothing. So why is it that we feel so scared to put ourselves out there? Something takes over. What about a breakup? You ever see people are run by breakups years later, 10, 20, 30 years later? Yeah? You'll see people who even like remarry, old people, still obsessing over their first wife. That is not proportionate to reality. A breakup isn't fun. Of course, there's grieving. You're splitting ways. But it shouldn't run you 10, 20 years later. Triggered. And we never address this. We just act on the triggerness and try to find techniques to fight against being triggered or avoid being triggered. Why not dive into what is being triggered and release that? And this goes back to your childhood. Say you're in class and you speak up and the teacher shames you. Not purposely. The teacher might just be like, hey, no, like be quiet, that's stupid, don't be a clown. And say all the kids laugh as well. That can be traumatic. And this is also very important to understand. Trauma isn't just like crazy stuff. We think trauma equals going to the war or being abused or violence and stuff. Yes, that is traumatic. But you know what's also traumatic? Having a whole classroom laugh at you. Why? Because it depends on your perception of the events. For a kid, that classroom is the world. If you don't fit in that classroom, you could die. You don't see beyond the classroom. You don't think you could move and there's other places. You're like, this is it. If everyone's laughing at you, you could interpret that as, man, I might be ostracized from this classroom. My survival is at risk. That can be traumatic. Being lost in the grocery store as a kid can be traumatic. What? But you're just lost in your parents are there, it's fine. Not from the kid's perspective. So when that happens, and you're faced with that traumatic situation, survival instinct kicks in. Another one is people finding out that you like someone in your class. Oh, he likes her, she likes him, and everyone mocking you for it. Traumatic. So what do? In those instances where that survival instinct kicks in, we hide and try to get rid of the part of us, the aspect of us that is threatening our survival. The part of me that is loud, that expresses myself. Get rid of it. Too dangerous. Never embody that. Part of me that likes a girl, likes a guy, never embody that. And you could call it, suppress it, disown it, repress it. That's on me. And then you live your life that way. Now, because it is you, it doesn't go anywhere. All you do is you place it out of your awareness. You could say you place in your subconscious as far out of your awareness, and then there's layers and layers and layers of resistance to ever embodying that or ever being aware of that aspect. And you live your life that way. And here you are as your adult life. Go say hi to that person. That same fear of death, survival instinct kicks in that you had back then, because now you're in a situation where people could see that aspect where you might have to embody it. And now you're triggered. It comes up a little closer to the surface. Make sense? Okay. The same as when you're pissed off, by the way. Eckhart Tolle calls this like a pain body attack. Someone might do a small thing, and realistically it's not that bad, but you just get triggered and fly off the handle. You're like, oh, fuck that person. Da, 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 da. You ever get that? Yeah. Disproportionate to reality. Where did that come from? Your past. And now what's crazy too is that not only is it out of your awareness when you put it there, but then there's more and more resistance that is built on this. Why? Because every day that passes, you fear reowning it more than before. It's like checking your bank account. You ever hear me use that example? Say you go out tonight and you spend a little too much. Tomorrow, you know you fucked up. You're like, ah, man, I spent too much. You don't want to check your account, because then it makes it real, and it hurts. Okay? There's that famous saying, you can't be broke if you don't know about it. So we're just like, I'd rather not check. But then you go about your day, and you're buying more stuff another day. Every day that passes, there's more resistance and more dread to checking your balance. That's just with something external to us. That's what happens with this shit your entire life from your childhood. And then, of course, again, we never address this. We're just like, more techniques to fight against the triggeredness, to fight against approach anxiety, better systems. And yeah, they may help temporarily. Similarly, you've heard probably of like progressive desensitization. That does help temporarily. But what happens when you stop doing it? You revert back. People who do those social anxiety challenges and stuff, I mean, it's great. You're like, well, I'm desensitizing myself to social pressure. Awesome. But what happens when they stop doing those challenges? They don't stay like that. So it's temporary. It depends on the challenges. Why am I not like that by default? Why do I have to, once more, maintain it? That's the catch. The key is go and trigger yourself, but not as a way as desensitizing yourself, as a way of bringing this up closer to your awareness so you can catch it, tune into it, and release it. And when you free yourself from this shit, you just don't have approach anxiety. You're no longer triggered. It's not about convincing yourself mentally that it's good. That's what we try to do. We try to, actually, I love that you said that. It's like affirmations. Everyone knows affirmations? I'm positive, I'm positive. Now, these can be a great tool when shit hits the fan. Definitely. But the way we tend to use them is we try to bullshit ourselves. We try to say it so much to bullshit what we actually believe down there. We all have this, these two worlds, what we're aware of, what we're not aware of. I'm awesome, but in the background, no, you're not. Maybe if I say it long enough, I'll be able to bullshit my subconscious. You can't. Identify why there's a part of you that doesn't believe it and let go of what's keeping that alive. Okay? Same here. It's like, say there's an aspect to you, I can't be loud in public. Too traumatic. Disowned it. When you're triggered, that aspect's coming up to your awareness. You start freaking out. Instead of just barreling through or stuffing it back down, feel it come up. Feel the sensations come up, and then learn how to process them through an experiential process. This is what I've been talking about for years when it comes to transformation mastery.
This is Julian, and welcome to Transformation Mastery.
It was fucking amazing.
This was huge for me. This was so important.
This gave me by far the greatest epiphanies I've ever.
And we got like real deep, and I found some issues within myself.
One of the best things I've seen so far in my life.
What you're about to experience going through this program is what completely changed my life on every single level. Okay, be it health, wealth, relationships, higher purpose, you name it. This is the stuff that finally produced that true, long-lasting personal transformation we're all after.